Hi, welcome back. So let's continue from where we left. Okay, so since we register and we are redirected back here, okay, it will be prudent we fetch the user information should we want to update our information. Okay, so inside the registration, okay, so here we want to fetch our information. We can actually fetch the information here since this is a server-side component. We can fetch the information here. However, I want to structure the code, so I'll go into maybe the utils here, and I'll create services, or you can even put it outside the utils services. Then I'll put patient.ts. Okay, so this will be for the patient where I want to fetch information pertaining to the patient, right? Okay, so here what we're going to do is the name of the function was get patient by ID. So what I'll do is I'll just say export async function get patient by ID. Okay, and the ID is a string. Okay, so it's the ID from clerk, and that's the string. Okay, so get patient by ID. Okay, and in here I'll put a try catch. Okay, and I'll put this error handler here. So if an error occurs, we log it, then we respond with success being false, and then message this, right? Okay. So in here, what we can do is that we are going to use the database connection that we created, right? So just say patient should be await db, and make sure you import from the libs dot then the patient, right? Okay, then we want to say find you can use find first, which will find the first one or one, but we want to use find unique because the ID is unique. Okay, now inside an object, then we need to put where condition, right? Okay, so where ID is equal to the ID that we've provided here. Okay, so here, okay, I think we have SX. Okay, so where, because the ID is unique, that's why we're able to pass it here and we get 1. Okay, so let's say if there is no patient, if we don't get any result, what can we do? Okay, we can return back success is false, the message is patient data not found, 404, or yeah. Okay, I think we can make it 200. Yeah, because the operation was successful, just that patient wasn't found. Okay, but if the patient exists, then we just have to return success to true. Then we'll put data to be patient, and we can also put a status of 200. Okay, great. So we can use this function get patient by ID. Okay, so we can just call it here. Okay, I think. Okay. So what I would just say is get patient by ID, and I can now remove this. Okay, now it's asking us, sometimes this can be null, but we believe it will exist, so we can put exclamation mark here to make Typescript aware that it will be there. Okay, great. So perhaps we can console log data and see. Okay, so let's reload and see. Okay, we are not getting any error, and now we can see that since this is on the server side, now we can see the patient information logged here. Okay, great. So what we are doing now is we are now passing it here, right? Okay, so if we go here, I think, yes, we even have it populated here, right? Great job. Great. And because we are updating, you see, there's no need of the consent string. We have it again as we specified. Okay, great. So now we can go into the new patient form itself, right here. And should we want to update it, then we need to do this part. Okay, so we can go back inside here, and maybe we can just copy this and modify it. Okay, here. Okay, where we have the create patient, right? So maybe I'll put it up here, and this will be update patient. Update patient. So we'll also take the data and also the ID. Okay, we'll validate the data and make sure the data is validated. Okay, then we'll also pass the patient like this. Okay, so here, will we even need this? I don't think so. Okay, so here, what we can do is that we need to update the click information, right? And the information we'll update will be perhaps the patient ID, sorry, patient name. Okay, so I'll take off this and also this. Okay, great. So here, client, and we will not even need the user, so we just remove it and just say client. Okay, client.users. Okay, so update, great, update user. We will not update the email, okay, but rather we'll put here will be the patient ID, okay, which we take in here. Okay, so patient ID will not update password, we'll only update first name and last name. Okay, great. Now we can update. Okay, so we can also remove this. So now instead of we saying create, we'll use update. Great, so update, and the update will also take the ID. So now we'll put data. What are we updating? We will not update this ID. Okay, so we'll just spread the patient data. And now we also need to put the condition where, okay, so where ID is equal to this. Okay, so we're updating patient where the ID is equal to the PID that we passed here. Okay, and once we are done, we can send a message this true that the patient info updated successfully. Okay, great. So we can call this function in here. Okay, so here where we so here when it is update, okay, then we just say await update patient. Okay, great. Then I'll just put the values, great, and I'll put user ID also. Okay, then exclamatory mark to tell it that it exists. Okay, great. So here that we move, I think maybe we can go to patient, right? Yeah, for the patient dashboard. Okay, and that's it. Okay, so we can update it. So perhaps let's try and see if we can update. So I'm just going to add updated to the name and push through and see. Okay, so it says that updated and it will be redirected back. Okay, and now you can see we have the updated here. Okay, so let's go to the main page, the main dashboard. Okay, where we said we'll redirect. So now let's come here to fetch the patient information so that we don't get redirected. So also that one we can fetch the information here. However, I want to put it inside the this file that we created, right? I'm going to copy this. I'll toggle this and put this here. Okay, I will remove perhaps this. And I'm going to say get patient dashboard statics test, right? Okay, so here we'll get the patient statistics, right? Since it's a dashboard. Okay, so we'll first check if the ID right here, okay, yeah, we're receiving the ID, if the ID exists or not. So if the ID does not exist, then we just return as usual success or false message that no data found. Okay, then the data will be null. So now if the SID, okay, now we can say cons data should be equal to await db, which is already imported, patient dot find unique. Okay, great. Then put where ID, great, is equal to ID. Okay, I think I have extra parentheses, great, ID is equal to ID. Now, if we do this will return all that of that information, right? All of the information from the patient table. However, if we want to return perhaps few information, how can we do it? How we can do it is that we can put select condition and select the fields we want. Maybe we don't want all the fields. So we can say we want ID, and we can say ID should be true, meaning we are including ID. We can say patient name. Okay, so I have some suggestions. So patient name is included, last name included, and I don't think I need email, and this, I don't need email. Okay, let's say I'll need gender, and let's say if I have the image, I'll also need it, and I think that's all. Okay, so this will be the few information that we'll need, right? Okay, so if we go back here, not here, we can close this. So here, right? Okay, so I'll just copy the name of the function since it's a little bit long here, and I'll just say, okay, this call to await, right? And I put the name and pass the user.id to it, and I'll put this to make sure that it exists. Let me also put a question mark, okay, like this. Okay, so here I can put this for you to see. Okay, so if I open the terminal, Great. And let me try going back to dashboard. So I think now we are not redirected. Okay, because the patient exists. And you see, it's an object, so we can destructure the ID, the data. Great. And now we have only the data. Okay, so I can remove this. Okay, but in our dashboard, we also need things like the appointment information, the last appointment, right? We'll need all of them. Okay, but before we fetch that one, I want to check if data exists first, meaning if the patient exists. If the patient does not exist, there is no need to fetch the rest, right? Okay, so okay, I think that's cool. So if patient exists, now let's fetch appointments, right? Okay, even though we don't have appointments for now, but let's put the code here. Okay, so db.appointment rate.find. So here we want to find patient can have many appointments, so find many. Okay, then we'll put where. Okay, so where patient ID, right? The patient ID should be equal to data.id, right? Okay, so we want to get the patient ID here. Great. And there are a couple of informations we want to include. Now, as we can use the select, there is also something we can use that's called include. Okay, so the fields we want to include, right? We can include them. We can include the doctor because the doctor is also connected to the appointment. Yeah, the doctor is here. The patient is also connected to the appointment. Okay, so we can include the doctor, and including the doctor, we can select, right? We can select few fields of the doctor, and I think the doctor, it's only name. We don't have first name and last name. Okay, so we are including the doctor, but we don't want to fetch all the details of the doctor. We want to select few. Okay, so we want the ID, we want the name. If there is an image, we want it, and we also want the specialization to it. Okay, great. Okay, so this is how you can fetch specific information when you want to include them. Okay, and now we can also order them, right? So after the where condition and after the include, so the include ends here, right? We want to order by, okay, so appointment date. Great. And that will be in descending order. Now, when we have this appointment information, now we can process the information. So I'll put to do here. So once we create it, then we come and process it. Okay, process appointment information info. Okay, I'll just put info. So I also want to return okay, so the data I will want to return will be, I'll return this. I'll return appointments, appointment counts. Okay, appointment counts. I will also return total appointment. Okay, and for now I'll just put the appointment dot length. Great. Okay, so appointment count, I'm just going to put null for now. And what again, I also send available doctors. Okay, so that one will also be null for now. Okay, so these are the informations that we'll send, right? Once we process the information, we'll send the data, we'll send the appointment count. We can even send the last 5 records. That is the last 5 appointments, right? Recent ones. Okay, so we can send all of this information. Okay, so here we can destructure all of them, like appointment count, last 5. Okay, so we see Typescript. We can also total appointment. We can also get the available doctors, as well as we can even also get the monthly data. Okay, so maybe I can put that one to monthly, which will also be now. Okay, so these are the information that will fetch. Okay, so let's go see. Okay, so it's still here. Okay, so we'll fetch all of this information and just display them on the dashboard. Okay, so here we can say that in order not to crash the app, we'll check if data does not exist, right? We'll return now. So now let's work on the dashboard. So there will be 2 sides. There will be the left side and the right side. Okay, so here I will remove this. So class now I'll give pattern y of 6, px of 3. It should be flex core. Okay, rounded, that's Excel. And on Excel, it should be flex of row and a gap of also 6. Inside this, we'll have left and right side, right? Okay, so I'll just put a div. Okay, left and right. And I'll just put this as right. Okay, great. So let's also give classes here. So here the left will be width of full on small screens, but on extra large, it will be width of 69%. Okay, you can adjust the percentages to your need. Okay, 69. Okay, and here I'll just copy this, okay, and put it here. So if this is 69, then this should be almost like 31, but I'll put 30 for a little bit of room for the gap. Okay, so let's deal with the left part. I'll put a div with classes, bg of white, rounded of XL, P of 4, that's pattern 4, and margin bottom of 8. Inside this, we have another one to hold the title. So classes, flex, item center, justify to between, and margin bottom of 4. In here, now I'll put H1, which will say welcome. They will put data, question mark, first name. Great. Okay, so we want it to be a little bit personalized by giving the name, right? So if that one does not exist, we can use perhaps the username. So name, okay, like this one. Okay, let's check. Okay, great. So we have it here. So let's start this test of LG on Excel, test of 2XL, and font of semi-bold. Okay. Okay, great. Now below this, we'll put another div with class space x of 2. Okay, then I'll put buttons or button, yeah. And inside this button, I'll just say new date. Great. And I want to get the full year. Full year like this. Okay, great. That is one. And let me just style it. So I want the size to be small. Okay, is there any other thing I'll need? I think that's all. And below it, I'll put another button. And this button will take a link component from NextJs. And in the link, I'll just put view profile. Okay. And you'll have an href, which you go to /patient/ then self. You know, we're just passing self because we'll use that same page to fetch information for other patients, right? So we want to pass self to know that we are referring to me, the patient using, and not other patient, right? Okay. Okay, let's also give some styling to this. So also size will be small, and the variant should be outline. Okay. You can also give class names of hover. Don't say underline. That's all. Okay, so we have it this way. Great. Okay. So after this, now we're done with this top part here. So 2 divs down. After the button, 2 divs. Okay, put another div and class. It should be width of full, flex, and the flex wrap, and a gap of 5. Now we're going to create some cards. So we'll map over the cards. So for now, I'll just bring some card. Okay, I'll put it here. Okay, so that's a little bit, okay, this is what we have. And here, I'll import all of these icons. So this will be for appointments, right? So the card has title, the value, this also, and there are also some classes, right? And there's also icon class name. There's also note, you know, okay, so appointment count. Okay, so I think the name was supposed to be appointment count. I can go back here and change it to appointment count. Okay, so appointment count dot cancel. Okay, so perhaps here, instead of returning, now I can return an empty object. And let me see if it will work. Okay, so inside it, I'll put cancel, which will be 0. And I'll get pending appointments. Okay. Also 0. And what again? Scheduled, as well as I think completed. Okay, completed. Okay. I'm just placing this information so that we can get something to display. Once we fetch the actual data, it will be easy. Okay, so I'll import these icons and this one also. Great. Okay. Okay, so I hope you can see it. So maybe you can pause and type it. Okay, great. So here, inside this, we'll map over those items. Okay, So we can say card data map. We'll get each item and ID. Great. And we can return a start card. Okay, great. Start card. Okay, so this start card does not exist. However, let's provide some props. First, we'll put ID as a key. We'll also put a title. I think we can just spread it. Spread, yeah. Oops, like this. Okay, I think this will make the work easier. So now let's create this card. So I'll come here and I'll put start card.tsx rafc. Okay, so start card. Okay, and this has some interface or types. So interface card props. Okay, so it has title, which is a string, icon, which is of lucid icon. It also has note, which is a string. It has value, which is also a string. I think the value can also be a number, so let me put number here. Okay, so any of them. I also put class name, which can be optional string. And there's also icon class name, which is also optional string. And there also can be a link, which is also, I think, optional. I think link will always exist because when we click on it, we want to go somewhere. Okay, so I think I can now import this and let me add the link. Let me just put, okay, so here, let's accept the props. So here, and this is a card props. Great. So inside it, now we can get the title. Great. And all of this information. So we have access parameter here. Okay, great. Okay, should everybody be fine here? Okay, something is missing. Oh, okay, great. Okay, so there's something, I think we are missing some of the parentheses here. Is that the case? Okay, so it says note is missing. Note. Oh, it should be note and not notes. Okay, so here also note. Okay, and I think TypeScript is now happy. So great. Okay, so now let's start this. So this will be we're going to use the helper function, so cn, and make sure you import it from utils, right? Okay, so that one was created when we added chassis, and so we didn't have to do it. Okay, so I'll put width of full on MD, width of 330 pixels, on 2XL, width of 250 pixels. Now I'll add the rest of the classes that will be coming. Great. Should we have any? Okay, so now I think I can turn this to a card component from great UI/card. Now card header. Inside the card header, I can put H3 and just put title. So we can put class here and also so flex row, items to center, justify to between, PY of 3 and capital I. Okay, so below here we'll put a button coming from UI/button. Okay, and inside the button I'll put another link, read from Nest, and I'll just put C details, and the href will go to the link. Great. So should we give styles to this? Okay, so this will behave as a child, right? Because we have the link in it, so we want the button to behave as a child. Okay, the size to SM small. Okay, the variant to outline, and the class name of font dash normal, text dash very small. Okay, BG of transparent, a pattern of 2, and height of 0, and on hover I want to underline the text. Okay, so let's see. Great, so we have this card with, yeah, okay, so each card has their type colors. Okay, great. And all the colors are coming from here. You can see they have classes, right? Great. Okay, so let's continue. So we're done with the card header. Okay, so let's come to the content. So card content, we'll put a div and let's style it straight up. So here we have flex, item center, and a gap of 4. Another div, and this div class, okay, also cn. Okay, great. So width of 10, height of 10, bg of violet 500 slash 15 for opacity. Okay, so rounded dash full flex item center and justify to also center. The text should be violet great dash 600. Then if there are icon classes, we'll also put them here. Okay, great. So the icon would be inside this. And here we'll just call card icon as icon. Great. So let's check on the card icon. So we did one. So I'll just bring this one also here. So here it's icon. Okay, so icon and just return this icon. Okay, and I want to believe I have this props already. Okay, great. So let's check our progress. So now we have this. Okay, great. So what again? So beneath the icon, we can put h2, which will take it will format a number. So format number, right? They will just pass the value. Okay, so let me just copy and paste this format number function. Okay, so I'll just go into utils and index. Utils. Okay, so I think I can create one index.ts and I'll just put this one here. Okay, so the function is it will receive a number, right, and return a string. We just format the number. Yeah, we just want to format the number. This is very simple, right? Okay, so just import this here. Great. I will pass the value. Okay, so I think I can remove the string and just make it a number. Okay, great. So let's start this. So class name. Let's make the test to Excel. On extra large screen, the text should be 3XL. Font, that's semi-bold. Okay, great. And below all of the divs, right, outside the card content, we want to put card footer. Okay, great. In the card footer, I'll put a paragraph tag, which will take the note. Okay, let's start them. So this will be PB of 3. That is padding bottom of 3. We can also start this by saying test should be SM small, test of gray, that's 500. And I think that is our card. We are done. Great. So this is what we have, right? Okay. So you can put any information that you want to add, right, according to your need. That is totally fine. So where do we go again? I can now close this back here. So now that we are done with the cards, so we are left with things like the appointment records, right? Okay, so below this div 1, 2, okay, here we want to put another div. Okay, and inside it I will show the appointment chart, which I'll pass data, which is the monthly data. Great to it, but it does not exist, so I'll comment that. Okay, let's start this. So here we'll have a width of 500 pixels. Great. After this one, I'll have another div, which will be for recent, okay, appointment. Okay, also we'll pass the data, which is the last 5 appointments. Okay, also does not exist, so I'll comment that. And let me also style this. You have a BG of white, rounded, Excel, pattern of 4, and margin top of 8. Okay, and in the right side we also have this. Okay, I just want to list them so that we start doing them. We'll have a div with the classes, width of full, h of 450 pixels, and margin bottom of 8. Okay, and inside this we'll put the start text. Okay, let's just say start summary. Okay, which you also get data, which is the appointment counts. Great. Then I also pass the total, which is the total appointment. Okay, I'll just close it, comment it for now, and below it I will show available doctors card here. Okay, which will also take data of available doctors. Okay, so comment that. Okay, so we see we have a lot of things to do. Then we'll also bring the patient rating container. Okay, great. So where should we even start from? Okay, maybe let's go in that order. So let's do with this. Okay, I think let's do the left side first because I think that will be easy. Okay, so let's start with the summary. Okay, so we'll need a package called ReactJs for the graphs. So ReactJs. Okay, so here. Okay, so this is ReactJs. So we can install it, and there are a lot of examples here, like the line chart. There are a lot of things here. Okay, great. So you can look into it. Okay, so let me get the terminal and put the command here. Okay, so whilst it is installing, we can just go into the components here, right? And I want to create a folder called charts, and inside it I'll put the start summary.tss. Okay, and because of the chart, there will be some animations from the ReactJs, so we have to make it use client. Okay, so I'm going to say use client. Good. So I'll say export cons start summary, which will be equal to this. Then okay, we have to return a div, and I think now I can go back and import this. Great. Let me save it. Okay, so here we need to take the props data. I'll just put any. Okay, total will be number. So data and total. So let's form a data. So just say data. Yeah, okay, so there's data up there, so I'll just say data. I think the name is not that good, but let's manage it. Okay, so we'll have name, which will be total. I have the count as the total. Okay, and I have the fill. So the fill will be the color, right? Okay, and I'll put white for this one. Okay, so I'll just duplicate this, I think 2 times. So this time this will be appointments. Okay, so here, so this will be the data dot pending, so pending appointment, plus data dot scheduled, or I'll just put 0, and the color, this color. Okay, great. And this one also will just be one of this, but this time completed. Okay, or I'll also put 0, and the fill color will be this blue. Okay, great. So here I will just want to do something. I want to get the appointments, which will be data info, and I just want to take first one dot count. Okay, so you see, this is the appointment. Sorry, so this is the first one, this is the second one, and this in the 0, this is in this 1. So I want to take the appointment here, and I also want to say consultation. Okay, so I'm using consultation for the one that has been completed, right? Okay, because I'll need these numbers. These numbers, that's why I want to get them here. So here will be 2. Okay, so I'm using consultation for the one that has been completed. Okay, so now let's come to this. Okay, now class, a bg of white, rounded excel, width of full, and height of also full, a b of 4. Inside this, I want to put another div, and in the div I'll put a title, which goes summary. Okay, so let's start this div. Okay, so let's start this div. Flex justify between and items to center. The title will also be test LG and font semi-bold. Below I'll put a button like the one we did before, so I can just copy and bring it, the one we did in the card. So button, make sure you also import links from next link. Okay, so same, and this one will go to records/appointment. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we have it here, summary, and this. Okay, great. So down here I'll put a div for the chart itself. Class name should be relative, width of full, and height of 75%. Okay, so if you check here, this has a height already, right? Okay, so that's why we're using the percentages here. Okay, so from ReactJs we can get components like responsive. So they have a responsive container. Okay, responsive container. Okay, so responsive, I will just come here and import them. So okay, like this from ReactJs. Great. So I will need responsive container. Okay, great. We'll need the radar bar chart. We'll also need radar bar. Okay, so radar bar chart and radar bar. Okay, great. So responsive container. Great. And inside it, I'll put the radar bar chart, and inside this one, I'll put the radar bar. Okay, so let's provide the various props. Okay, so this one will take CX. Okay, I think all of these are just from the documentation, so I can just put them here. Okay, so it takes this, right, and it takes CY, so you know that the X, the is horizontal and this one is vertical. And the inner radius, right, of the bar chart, I want the inner radius to be 40% and the outer radius of 100. I want the bar size to be 12, and I want the data should be the data info. This one, this information that we have here. And this one will also take a background color, and I want the data key to be equal to the count. Okay, so the data key is equal to this count. Okay, great. So let's check. Do we have it? Oh yeah, we have it here. It's very light because we don't have any data in there. So if I say that total, or let's say 100, and this should be 50, and this also 50. Let's see if that's great. So you see, so now we get this. Okay, maybe I can make one 60 and the other 40. Great, so we have it like this. Interesting. So below this, okay, so below the responsive container, we can now have users, which is an icon, and I'll put a size of 30, and I also put a classes. Okay, so this will be absolute positioning. Top will be 1/2, left will also be 1/2. That's how dash 1/2. Okay, we want the translate, okay, of S of 1/2. I also want translate Y of 1/2, and test of gray dash 400. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we have this. It's supposed to be inside here, so let's see why. Okay, so let me make this negative translate S, and also negative, and let's see. Okay, so now it's here. If you want to use image, you can put image inside. Okay, so after this, I'll come to this div down and I put another one here. Okay, so styling this will have a flex, justify to center, and a gap of 16. Inside, another div with classes, flex column, gap of 1. Okay, we have another one, so it's just divs after divs, flex item center, and gap of 2 this time. So inside this div also we'll put one more divs. Okay, I know the divs are a lot, but that's what we have in building web applications. Okay, 5, and also H of 5, and BG of 00000, which is black. Okay, and rounded of Excel. Okay, so now I'll put inside H1 with also format number. Okay, so format number, they will pass the appointment number that we have. Let's say font dash bold. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this is the one we gave height 5 and width of 5, right? So this one. Okay, so I also want to put H2, that will say data info great one dot name. So we want to get the name, right? So appointment, and we also want to put the number of appointments, right? Okay, so we'll say I'm going to put a lot of parentheses, that is 2. So I have parenthesis, curly brace, and 2 parentheses inside the curly braces. Okay, great. I'll just say appointment divide by appointment plus consultation. We just want to get the percentages. So appointment and appointment plus consultations, right? So all the appointment plus consultations, then we divide it by this so that we can get the percentages. Okay, then 1 curly brace 2, parenthesis, right? 2, then we multiply it by 100. Okay, so we divide this, all of this, then we multiply it by 100. Okay, then the last parenthesis here, right? Okay, so this is how it will be. But I want to put the whole of this, what will be returned, right? Okay, so I just put to fixed of 0. So I want it to have great. I don't want it to have dot dot dot. If I don't put this, right, and let's see, there can be a situation of, you know, okay, let me change this so you understand. So I'm going to say 64, and here will be 36. I think that's 100. Okay, so still let me put 1 here so that you understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, so in order to avoid a whole lot of this dot dot dot, right? Yes, the fraction part, great. I'll just put that's why I have what is it? Okay, so that's where I'm putting the to fix of 0 here. Okay, to fixed of 0. Okay, if you want it to be 1 or 2, you can put it according to your need. Okay, so this one, we can style this to, so the text should be XM and a text of gray 400. Then we're going to have another one. So this from here. Okay, so I'll just duplicate this and let's see. Okay. Okay, I think I duplicated the wrong one. I think I need to copy the whole of this one more time and see. Okay, like this. Great. So this time this will not be appointment. What is the? This will be consultations. Okay. Okay. So here will also be 2, and here will be consultation. Great. And the background here will be, this one is blue. We want it to match the design. Okay, so this one, so here and here. Okay, so if you check, you can see that we have the numbers inside this small box. Or yeah, so I think I've seen it here. I think I remove this and make it a self-closing one. Right, okay. And this div here should be here. Okay, so this is how it's supposed to be. So this div is wrapping this div and this h1, and this one also be here, right? Okay, and this one is a self-closing one. Okay, so here, this one will also be a self-closing, and you can also remove just one from here, and you get the same result, right? Okay, great. So now let's go see. So now you can see, great. So here, then the number, and this, then great. So why is it total? Okay, so I think I didn't change the name from here to consultation. Okay, great. So this is what we have. Okay, so yes, if we refresh it, let's see. Great, it's nicely animated. Okay, so let's continue. Open the other app here. So we're gonna go to the other areas, right? Okay, so by the way, I realize this here and yeah, they are not the same, so we'll figure out. Okay, but I think we need to, let's seed our database with some information. So I created I use ChatGPT to generate that, and let me put it here. Okay, say seed.ts, have it copied. Okay, so this is it. Okay, so let's continue. So I want to seed my database, you know, so that we can get information to do the designs. Okay, so I use ChatGPT to create this function, right? I'm using Faker, right, to generate information. I'm using client here. Okay, so this is the function to create staff, create doctors, create patients, and also create appointments, right? Okay, and what I did again is that I added this, right? Okay, in the package JSON Prisma, then seed node Prisma, because the seed, yeah, it's inside this, right? So it's inside the Prisma .ts. Okay, I also installed the Faker library, so I think it should be, yeah, it should be at Faker somewhere here. Okay, it's also here. Okay, and as you can see, the database is empty. Okay, so let's go and run our seed function and hope that it will work. So I'll run npx prisma db seed. Okay, so we have the message seeding data. Okay, so it says figure.name is duplicated. Okay, so maybe you can check the npm package and use the appropriate one, but I think it will get the job done. Okay, so we have it done. It's seeding completed. Okay, so we can start our app again, npm run dev. Okay. Okay, our app is running, and okay, Prisma is also running. So let's go and check. So I'll reload and see. So patient. Okay, so I have patients here. Okay, so I will just want to do one thing. Okay, I would just want to go to my click dashboard and perhaps get one click dashboard. Okay, so I just want to get my ID, the signed in user ID. Okay, so where is the ID? Okay, so there's the user ID. I'll come here, I'll go to patients, and maybe I should change the first one and put this, enter and save. Okay, so if I come here, okay, so maybe we can change one of this. I think it was Jim. Great. Okay, so maybe I can just change one of the IDs here. Maybe I can also change this one. Okay, so I'm just changing some of the appointments to have my ID. Okay, let me save and see. Okay, so what again? Okay, so I think that's all for now. Okay, great. So let's go back and reload our app and see if we can get information. Okay, so if you can, we have 4 appointments. Okay, great. So I think we can now work on the others and get the real information. Okay, so first let's check on the card. So I'll close this seed. Okay, so the start card. Now I can remove distance. Okay, let me make it 0. So 0 and 0 here as well. Okay, and let me check the card. Okay, so let's check on the start card. So here, okay, so this should be pixels like this. Okay, great. So now we have it like this. Now this is also not there. So let's go and fix. We can now go here. Okay, I can close some of these things. Okay, so now this place. Now let's fetch the actual information here. Okay, great. Okay, so now that we have the appointment, we can now process the information. Okay, so we can process it and we'll get feedback of, let's say, await. Okay, so I think I can put that function somewhere here. Okay, so there's the function. So initialize data. So first initialize the data. So in initializing the data, okay, so I have the appointment status. The appointment status is either pending, scheduled, or this, right? And I also have the interface of the appointment, which will have the status of this and the appointment date. Okay, I need that one here. And I think I need to also, I also get a year. I need to get month. Okay, so I need to install dateFX function. I'll create another one. Say npmi dates fns. Okay, so we'll have to import this. Okay, so say import this from date fns. Okay, great. So once it's done, we'll be able to get it. Okay, I can just put get month. Okay, great. And we also need the format, which will also come from dateF. Okay, so format also from there. Okay, so this will help us format it by reasons of grouping them into months using the appointment date. Okay, so we'll group the appointment, whether we have the appointments and the completed appointments, right? Okay, and this is now the process information. We are passing the type as the appointment, right? And this will have the appointment record, will have the appointment status, right? Okay, so we're using the reduce function, right? Okay, and we'll get the appointment. So when we get the appointment, we take the status from it, and we also take the appointment date here. Okay, so once we get it, now we'll need to get the index of the month, right? So the month that we have up here, get month, then we pass the date that we have here to get the index. Okay, once we have it, we can also import something like start of year. So we want it to be from the beginning of the year to the end. So all from date F and X. Okay, so we use it if the status is completed, then we pass it as completed appointment. If it's not, we also get this by grouping them into status. So it's valid status. Okay. Okay, I'll just copy that function and also paste it here. Okay, so I will just say that it's valid status, right? Where I'll get the status and check if the status is equivalent to what we have here, right? Okay, so we'll return if it's one of these, it includes one of these, then we'll return through all four. So if it's a valid status, then we put it, and now we put the various values, then we return the information. Okay, so where were we doing it? So here we'll say okay, so here we'll say await process appointment, right? Then we'll pass the appointment that we have up here to it. We'll pass this appointment to it. So the response that we'll get the appointment count, and we'll also get the monthly data. Great. So now here I can remove all of this and just return the appointment count, as well as remove monthly data of now and just return monthly data. Okay, now we can also get something like the last 5 records, right, which will be equal to appointments dot slice. So I'm going to slice the from 0 up to 5. Okay, because it is grouped in descending order, the recent one will come up. Okay, appointment, not appointment count, appointment, great. And we just send this instead of sending now. Okay, great. And what again, we also need to fetch cons available doctors. Okay, so available doctors will also be await db dot doctors, great, dot find many, great. So we want to find many, and on what basis? We will just select. Okay, we'll select the ID, true, also the name, true, specialization, true, and image, if it also exists, true. Okay, after that, some number, right? We don't want to get all, but I want to get only 6, right? Okay, that's great. So I believe that's all. Great. Okay, and let's go and check if we still have the information here. Okay, so now we have 4 appointments, and none has been completed, and all of them are pending. So maybe I can try to see. I've forgotten my patient ID. I think it's this one. Okay, and I'll see some of the appointment which is either completed and see. Okay, so I'm going to see completed. Okay, so there is none that is completed. Okay, maybe I can just put my ID here and change this to cancelled. I also put my ID here and change the status to completed. Okay, and save it, and let's see. Okay, so let me check, reload, and let's see. Okay, so we have 1 completed, 1 cancelled, and a total of 6. Okay, great. So now the next thing that we can do, let's perhaps work on some of these things so that we can see the chart. Okay, so I'll go back inside this and just say appointment dash charts dot tss refce Okay, so inside our chat, let's create the appointment chat.tsx. Okay, RFCE. Let's say appointment chat. Okay, can go back here and import it. Okay, great. So inside here we'll get data. Okay, so I can just say interface data props, then I'll get the data and just say the data will be appointment chat props. Okay, so here I'll have to, maybe I can use the types here, yes, and just put data dash types dot ts. I'll just put this, so the appointment props will be this, right? So I can go back here and import it. Okay, and data from data props. Okay, so in here let's have some classes of bg white, rounded of excel, and p of 4, as well as height of full. Okay, great. Okay, so inside it we'll have another div which h1, which will just say appointment. Okay, let's start this. Flex, justify between, and items to center. This one will also take tests of LG, font of semi bold. Great. And below it, I'll now also get the responsive container. So import from rechat. Great. And I need responsive container. I'll also need bar chat. I'll need the Cartesian. Cartesian grid. Okay, this one. I also need the legend. I'll need the bar itself, the bar chart itself. I'll need a two-tip x-axis and y-axis. Okay, I think these are the things we will need. So here I'll now put the responsive container. Okay, and let me give it a width of 100% and a height of also 90%, because the parent has a sizing already. So okay, so in here I'll put the bar chart, and inside I'll put the Cartesian grid. Is it? And this will also have a width of 100, height of 300, data of data, and bar size. Great. So the bar size will be 25. Okay, and the Cartesian grid will have this styling. Okay, so the stroke of this, all of these are from the documentation, so no need to worry about. I think I can just copy them rather than typing them. So this is it. So we have the x-axis, right? I'm saying the fill to this color. I'm saying the line should be false, so I want to hide the line, and also the tick lines, I also want to hide them. Okay, and this is also for the y-axis, the two tip, right? I'm giving it a border color of white and a border radius of 10 pixels, and the legend itself, it's aligned to the left, and these are the properties. All of this is in the documentation, and the bar itself will have this fill color of black, right? And these are the radius, and this is the data key which is in the data that will pass the appointment, and this is for the completed appointment. So it's the appointment against the completed ones. So the completed ones is also known as the consultation, and these are the ones pending all. Now these are all the appointment, the pending, the completed, everything put together, and those that you have completed out of this will show here. Okay, great. So let's go and see if something will work. Okay, so I think we have an error. Okay, yes, so we also need to turn this to use client component. Great, and I think that will solve the problem. Okay, so wherever there is an interaction, you need to make it a client component. Okay, so now we have it here, but for some reason we are not getting the information. Okay. Okay, so one thing I want to do is perhaps now here I want it to show in the server here. So I want to console log the what data are we even passing there, the appointment chart monthly. Okay, so I'll put the monthly data here, open the terminal and see. Okay, so I have 000 and 6 and 1 here, so meaning we're supposed to have something to show. However, we are not getting anything, so let's look into it. Okay, so this here goes here, we get the data. Okay, so please ensure that this is height and not width. This is height, so if we check, okay, we should have this information. And I've also yeah, I've added more of the data, right? Yeah. Okay, so this is the information we have. So every month we'll have the appointment. So this is 1 and 1 completed, this is for November, and this is for December. Okay, great. So this is how it's gonna look, right? Great. So we can reload and see. Okay, I think I can also change the app name here. So that one will be in the root layout. So go to the root layout, right here, this one, and where you have the name, right? So I'll just say healthcare system. Okay, great. And if we go back, we should see that it will change here. Okay, so let's work on this recent appointment, and I can see this also tend to undefined, so we'll fix that. Okay, so let's work on that. So okay, so inside this dashboard here, I will uncomment this recent appointment, and in the component, okay, so I'll create tables, and inside it I'll put all the tables. So recent appointment.txs RAFCE. Okay, so let's import it here. Recent appointments. Okay, great. What I can do is that we can put the interface. Okay, so I'll say interface data props. So there will be the data, and the data will be of type any for now. Okay, let me just say any. Okay, so let's destructure the props here. So data, and pass the data props. Okay, so we are going to have a table here, and the table will be a reusable component. So it'll be better we separate it. Okay, so I'll go into instead of keeping it here, I want to reuse it. Okay, great. So I'll go into the tables and create table, this time singular, table.tss rfc, and just call it table. So in this table there'll be types. Okay, so table props, and I'll put the columns. Okay, columns, so each column will have header, string, and a key also of string. Will also be a render row or render item, which will be of type. So there will be item and item, and the item will have type of any for now. Yeah, we'll have any. And now I'll just say it should be a React. Yeah, okay. So React node. Okay, so yeah. And we can also have the data itself, which will be of type any. And I believe, yes, okay, also be an array. Okay, so like this. So I think I can pass it as table props. Okay, so table props will receive the columns. There will be the render row, and there will be the data itself. Okay, great. Now I can return I can return an HTML table. Oh, okay. Wait, I can return HTML table like this. Okay, so let's give some classes. There will be a width of full and a margin top of 4. Okay, so inside the table, we'll have the T head for the table head, right? And inside it, we'll have the row, the table row, right? Okay, so let me start this row. So the text will be on the left. The text should be gray dash 500. The text should be SM, and on large, text should be base. Okay, let me make it uppercase. Okay, now let's map over each of the columns. Okay, so I think I have something here. So columns, then I get the header key and class name. Okay, and I return each table head. Okay, passing the key and the class name as the class name that we'll receive. And now we show the header here. Okay, that's brilliant. Okay, I think that's it. Then we can come to the T body. Inside the body, then we just map over the data that we'll receive, right? But then let me first check, right, if the data exists or not. So data dot length, right? If the length is less than 1, then I'll just want to show something, meaning if it's 0, right, I want to show table row, one table row, right, which says no data found. I can put some classes as test dash gray dash 400, test dash base, right, and py of 10. So if data dot length also greater than 0, right, then I can show this. I'll say data dot map. Now I'll map over the data itself, right? So I'll get each item, rate, and return the row. Then I'll just spread the items here and even include an index of ID, which I'll get from here. So I'll get index from here. Should we want to use the index? Okay, so we'll get an index. I spread the items and I add an index to it. Okay, so this is just a pretty simple thing, right? Okay, so in here we will have to get the table columns, right? Okay, so the rest are date, right? And I'm giving some classes that it should be hidden, but on MD we use the table, the cell to display it, and these are the rest of the columns. Okay, great. So now in here, okay, one thing. Okay, so let's give classes bg of white, rounded dash xl, padding of 2, and 2xl, padding of 4. Okay, great. Inside this, I'll have this div, which will have an h1 of recent appointments. Let's start this. It should be flex, justified between and items to center. Okay, and the title will also be test of LG, font of semi-bold. Okay, so below it, then we have a button, which will also have a link component from NextLink with the test view all. Okay, so href will be to records to appointments. Okay, so let me import this from UI button, and it should add as a child. Okay, the variant should be outline. Okay, great. Now below this div, right, then now we can render the table that we just created. So table from table, okay, self-closing, and now we'll pass the columns as the columns that we have defined up there. Render row will also be render row or item, any name you want to give. Then data will be equal to the data that we'll receive. Okay, so let's work on the render row. So const render row. Okay, so we can return a table row. Okay, so let's see what we're doing. Okay, so we have this rate. Okay, so we have the header and the information there. Okay, we need to render the table row itself. So this is the title. Okay, great. Okay, so this one here will have a key which will be equivalent to the item.id. Okay, also a class name of, there should be a border bottom, right, and the border will be gray dash 200. And we're going to use a cool trick. When you use this word even, right, all the index with even numbers, right, so like 2, 4, 6, right, you know, to give that kind of we're going to give a background when the elements they are even, right, so bg does slate at 50, the text should be sm, and on hover we're also going to give a background of slate 50. Okay, great. Okay, so td, now table data, and I'll just render. Okay, so in this I'm going to put a div first, and in a div I'll put it E03, which will bear the name, right, so items dot patient, right, so patient, and inside the patient there is the first underscore name. Okay, so let's check and see. Okay, let me reload and see. Okay, I don't think we're getting any records. Okay, so we can do one thing is let's try to log the data that we are receiving. Check the terminal. Okay, good. So we're getting something, and inside it, okay, let me make it big. Okay, so you can see this is the item. There is the patient. Where is the patient? Okay, so I don't think we have the patient information here, right? We are not fetching the patient information. We're only fetching that of the doctor. Okay, so maybe we can go back to the, yes, this one, I think it's here. So where we have the last item, okay, where we're getting, okay, this one. Okay, so the appointment here, as we're including the doctor, so here up to here, we can also include patient, right? And what are the information we can select? Maybe we can select first name to true, last name also true. Okay, we can also get the gender. I don't know if will be needed, but let's get it. And date of birth to true, and image to also true. Okay, so now let's go see. Okay, so now you can see we have the patient name, and yes, we have the patient name. Okay, so now I think this will work here. So we can toggle this and let's check back and see. Great, so now you can see we have names here. Okay, so before then, let's give some styles to this div. So class name, it should be flex, item to center, a gap of 2 and 2xl, gap of 4, py of 2, and on xl py of 4. Okay, great. So this div will take the name. So let's start the name. So name. Okay, so test SM on MD, test of base on MD, font semi bold and uppercase or uppercase. Great. So we can see, okay, so it's getting somewhere. Great. Maybe we can remove the bold or make it medium. Okay, I think medium it's okay. So it's this name, right? Okay, then I'll put another one, which will be for last name. Okay, so let's see. Okay, great. So we have the name here. Okay, then below the name, we can put a span tag, which will take care of the gender, right? Okay, so maybe I can just put what I copied, patient gender dot to lowercase. Okay, so I can put this question marks. Okay. Okay, so yeah, great. So we have this. So class name, test should be XM and it should be capitalized. Okay, great. Okay, let's see. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, great. So now I want to show a profile picture here, right? I want to show the profile picture. So then here, I'll just say profile image. Okay, great. And this will take the URL, which will be called items.patient.img. That's the image, right? Okay. And also the name, which is this one. So I'm going to say name should be equal to, then I'll remove this. Okay. We can make our lives easier by just saying, instead of instantly returning this, right, we can also do it like this. Then return, just say cons, then name. Okay, so cons name should be equal to this. Okay, so this appointment will be of type appointment. Okay, so if I go to my data types, okay, I'll paste this appointment types here. So this is the appointment status. Okay, and this is patient from Prisma client, and this is also doctor. So I'll use this one. Okay, so I'll take up this and now import this from types. Great. Okay. Oh, okay. Let me remove this. Okay, great. So I think we are good to go. So what is left now is this. So now instead of we passing this long thing, we can pass name, and even here we can also pass just name. Okay, great. So inside this component, I can create the profile image.tss rafc profile image. Okay, so if you remember, we are accepting the URL, which is a string, and also name, which is a string. Okay, so URL and name. Okay, great. So great, we're accepting it like this. Maybe we may want to add some classes later. So let's say class name, which will be optional, right? Oh, class name. Okay, great. Okay, great. Okay, so now I want to do something. So what I want to do is that I want to first check if the URL exists, right? If the URL exists, then I will return an image component from next image. Okay, ensure it's been imported. Next image, and I'll just say src equal to, so src will be equal to the URL, and the alt will be maybe the name. Yeah, we'll have a height of 40, a width of also 40, and class name cn helper function. Okay, so here I will say it should be flex md hidden lg block w10 and h of 10 rounded dash full. Okay, and object to cover. Okay, great. And we can add the other class name that we have. Okay, so class name. Okay, I need to also accept it. And we can even have something like test class name. Test class name, which is also optional. Okay, so if we don't have the icon, sorry, the URL, right? So maybe I can even make this as optional. Okay, so if the URL does not exist, right, then I need to check if the image also exists. Then I can return a div. Great, so this div, then inside the div I have a paragraph tag which will show a function called get initials, right? Okay, so I'll just bring the function inside our utils, inside the utils. Okay, utils and index. Great, I'll just put this one here, right? Okay, so I just use ChatGPT to generate this, right? We just split it and get the index of the sorry, the initials of the name. Okay, it's here. Okay, so get initials, then I just pass the name. Okay, great. I'll pass the name, and if I ever need a class name, I'll just pass test class name. Okay, great. Okay, so this is what we have for now. And okay, let's also start this. Okay, also use the cn here and add the other class name. So this one will also be md, should be hidden, lg, also a flex or block, w10, h10, rounded full, test white, test base, item to center, and justify to also center. Okay, great. Okay, I think, okay, let me try font light also. Okay, so I think now we can import it. Profile image. Great, so pass the name. So I'm going to say this will be there. Okay, and the name also there. Okay, so let's check. Okay, so I think we have it. So I think I need to provide some classes here. So I'll put classes and put a BG of 600 NC. Okay, let me try it. Okay, great. So now we have it like this. Okay, great. We can also generate random colors, but that one, anytime we refresh or reload, the colors will change, right? So if you want it that way, you can do it that. Okay, great. So we can continue. Okay, so we're done with this. So I'll come down here and have another table data. Okay, which will say format date format. Okay, so we can use the format from date fs. Okay, great. And just put the item dot appointment date, right? And I want to format it in this format. So let's see. Great, if this will work. That one should be here. Okay, so this is the date. Okay, great. So that one, okay, let's also say it should be hidden on small device on an MD table dash cell. Okay, great. Okay, let me bring another one. Let me just duplicate another one. This one and this. I remove this and this. Okay, so this one will be the appointment time. Okay, so this one will also be hidden and table saw, and I want it to be lower case. Okay, maybe I can leave it like that and see. Okay, so this here. Okay, so I think unfortunately we didn't add the whether it's AM or PM. Yeah, we didn't add that. So yeah, okay, so it's not a big deal, but I think if you see like this, you should know 10 AM AM. Okay, great. Okay, so we also have another one. And this one, we are going to show the doctor information, right? Okay, so that one will also be hidden on small. Okay, so hidden. Then on medium, it will be visible. Okay, so items to also center, and there should be a gap of 2. Great. No, let me say py of 2 instead. Okay, so inside this, I also put a div, then get the profile image. Okay, so also get the URL, which will be equal to items.doctor.image, and say it will be there. Also name will be doctor, only have just name. Okay, great. And I think that's okay. Let's try to add a background color. Okay, great. So after the image, we'll also have a div to get the name. So that one to H3. So item.doctor.name. Okay. And also a span tag for the item.doctor.specialization. Okay, great. So this one here, okay, this one. Okay, here, font dash medium, and this one here, test dash xm xx, just capitalize. Okay, let's see. Great, so we're making improvement. Oh, so we generated fake specializations, and yeah. Okay, so don't worry. Okay, so this one, I can now start this and say it should be flex. Items to center, a gap of 2, and 2x, gap of 4. Okay, let's see. Okay, great. This is how I want it to be. Okay, so we're making somehow progress. Okay, so let me check. Okay, let me check this table again. The even, okay, so do we have it? Okay, it's here. Where I gave even, okay, so even background of 50. Let me try 100 and see. Okay, I don't know if you can see it, but okay, let me make it 500 so that you see. Okay, so you see how it will be. Great, that's what the even does. Okay, but I think 50, it's okay. So 50, it's okay. Okay, so 50 is okay. Let's also go to the next one will be what again? The appointment status. Okay, so this next one, TB, then I'll just call appointment status. Okay, so this one will reuse it, so that's why let me say appointment status indicator. Okay, I'll pass the status. Right, status will be item dot status or status. Yeah, okay, great. So inside our components, so appointment status indicator dot tss rfc. Okay, so here we can import it. Okay, this one we can also give some classes of it being hidden, and on Excel table dash cell. Okay, great. So here, okay, so here we'll also get the item. Okay, so I'll just give some color codes. I'll bring it here. Okay, so the status colors, right? Okay, these are the colors for each. Okay, so here what I'll say is that status will be of our appointment. If you remember, we have the appointment status in our Prisma client. Okay, so here, okay, status, great. So in here, it is just going to be a paragraph tag, right? And I'll just display status dot to lowercase, status to lowercase. Oh, okay, so this should be appointment status. Great. Okay, great. So now let's give some styling. So class name. Okay, so cn, import cn. Okay, so one, we're going to have a width of fit, px of 2, py of 1, rounded of full, capitalize, tests of sm, and lg, test of sm. Okay, so this should be xx, great, like this. And now we'll put the status color, then just pass in the status itself. Great. Okay, so I believe it should work. Great, so we have here shadow, and I don't think the colors are working, so yeah. Okay. Okay, so okay, like this, maybe we can just leave it like uppercase and let's see. Okay, I think that's one also, it's good. So okay, we can leave it like that. Anyone you want, you can just leave it. Okay, so now we're left with the actions here. Okay, so I can close this, and now below this I can put another table data, right? And inside it I'll put another div. There will be this view appointment, which will take the appointment ID, item.id. Okay, and there will also be a link with the href of, and also a class name. Okay, great. Which will be C or. Okay, great. So this will go to records /appointment slash Then I'll put the item ID. Okay, great. Okay, so I need to create this. So in here, there are a lot of components: view appointment.tss, refc, the view appointment, and I can import it. Okay, good. So view appointment will accept ID, which is a string, or undefined. Okay, great. So ID. Okay, great. And here, when we get the ID, now we are going to get the data itself, or fetch the data, right? Which will be get appointment by ID. Okay, great. So get appointment by ID. If there is no data, we'll return no. But if there is data, then we'll return something. So let's go to the patient service patient. Great. And I think we can bring it on top. We have a lot of things going on here. So maybe I will just duplicate one of these and call it get appointment by ID. Okay, I think so to structure the code, I will put in another service and call it appointment.ts, and I'll paste this. Okay, so get appointment by ID, import db. Okay, so this appointment then will be can be a string or number. I think it can be a number or string. Okay, great. So I'll call this data, and I say dot appointment dot find unique. But however, I first want to check if we make a request and there is no ID, we'll return. But if there is, okay, so find unique where ID. Okay, I'm going to make sure it's a number here. So number. Okay, so I think the ID will always be a number. Okay, so where ID is number, then let's include. Okay, so I'll include the doctor. And the doctor I'll select the ID of the doctor. Okay, I'll select the ID of the doctor. I'll select the name. I think specialization will also be true. And image also true. Okay. Then after doctor, I also select patient. Okay, so patient, I'll need the patient first name. I also need the last name. That's true. Age will be date of birth. True. Gender true. Image true. And address also true. And what again? Okay, let's also get the phone number to true. Okay, so I don't know what again we need, but I think that should be fine. Okay, an appointment, no. Okay, so that's all. So if there is no data, right, great, we say appointment not found, appointment data not found. Okay, but if it exists, then I'll just send the data. Okay, great. So we can go back to here and import this, and this will be this, and also await this here. Okay, so this will always be a number. Okay, great, like this. Great. Okay, so here I am going to use a dialog. So dialog from UI dialog. Okay, and I have a dialog trigger. Okay, and in a dialog trigger, I'll put a button. Okay, and the button will be view. Okay, so trigger will behave as a child. Okay, now I can style this button. So variant will be outline, and the class name itself. Okay, so flex items center, justify to center, rounded full, bg of blue dash 500/10, hover of underline, test of also blue dash 600, px of 1.5, py of 1, and the test of xfs, and an md test of sm. Okay, let me break it like this. Great. We can go and see. Okay, I think we have an issue. Okay, so this is href. Great, href. Okay, so here we have it. View all and see all. Okay, so I think we can style this div. I say it should be flex items to center and a gap of x of 2. Gap s of 2. Great. Okay, so this is what we have. Great. Okay, so let's go back here. Okay, so in the view, now we have the button. So now we need to get the view, the dialog content itself. Okay, so the max width will be 425 pixels. Great. And a max height also of 95%. Okay, like this. Great. On MD, max width of 2XL, and on 2XL, max width of 3XL. P of 8, overflow, Y auto. Okay, great. So I want to put this fragment. Okay, and now I'll put the dialog header, and the header will have a dialog title, which will say patient appointment. Okay, so you can try it. Okay, so it's coming up fine. Okay, so patient appointment. And we can also have a description, and I'll just copy the description below the header as description here. Okay, then we also want to have, so I'll have this to format the date and time, and I'll just bring it to this where I have this utils. Also put this one here to format the date and time. Okay, great. So I'll just import this format date and time and just pass this in. Okay, great. So let's see. Okay, so I have the appointment information with the time that it has been scheduled. Okay, great. So after this header, now I want to check if data.status, great. If the status equal to cancelled, great. If it's equal to cancelled, then I will show this div. Okay, this div will have a span which will say this appointment has been cancelled. Okay, and below it I'll put a paragraph tag, and inside it strong tag. Let's see reason. That's the reason. It's for the cancellation reason. Okay, then I put data.reason. Okay, so here let's start this. Okay, so BG of yellow dash 100, P of 4. Okay, margin top of also 4, and rounded of MD. Okay, so this one also have some classes. Font dash semi-bold and a test of SM. And I think that's all. Okay, let me also give some class to this one. I think this one can be also test of SM. Okay, so maybe I can click on an appointment that has been cancelled. Okay, great. So this will show like this. Great. So we have the cancellation and the message and it and the reason, right? Okay. Okay. So if it hasn't been cancelled, then we'll show the profile information. So within okay, here, okay, I can come here and give another div with some classes of, it should be grid, gap of 4, py of also 4. Okay, I'll put a paragraph, and inside the paragraph I'll say personal information. Okay, classes with fit bg blue dash 100 test dash blue dash 600 py of 1 rounded test of excess on MD test of SM. Okay, so personal information. Okay, below the personal information we'll have a div to put all the personal information in there. So class name, flex column, MD, flex row. Okay, flex row, a gap of 6 and margin bottom of 16. Okay, so inside here I'll put another div with class name, flex gap 1, width of full, and MD, the width should be 1/2. Now I'll import the profile image again. Great. And the URL will be data.patient.img, that's image. Okay, exclamation marks to tell it that it will be there. Name. Okay, I'll just want to copy it. Okay, so the first name and the last name. And should we need class name? Okay, so I just want to say the size should be 20, so very big, and a background of blue dash 500. Okay, so we have it this. We can also give some classes for the test, class name, and the test can be as big as 2XL. Okay, great. Once we have that, inside that same div, we can put another div with class name space y of 0.5. Now I'll put h2, and the h2 will show the name. So I'll just copy that one here, and the class name will be test LG on MD, test of Excel, font of semi-bold, and uppercase or uppercase. Okay. Okay, great. So we have it like this. Below it, I'm going to put a calendar. So I'll just, okay, so I'll say I'm importing calendar from Lucid React, and I'm just also calling this function, which is calculate age. Okay, so also put it inside the same utils index file. Okay, so this will help us to calculate the age. You don't have to worry about this. You can use ChatGPT to generate it, right? Yeah, if you care about it also, you can type it. Okay, pretty simple. Okay, so I will import it like this and pass the date of birth to it. And below the paragraph tag, I also put this one, which will show the phone. So phone icon from Lucid React, import it. Okay, then put the phone here. Okay, great. Okay, so now that we have that, you can go 2 divs down. Okay, 1, 2, then down. Okay, then we can have another div which will house a span, and a span will be for, say, address. Great. And the paragraph tag will house the address itself dot patient dot address. Oh, okay. Paragraph. Great, like this. Okay, so let's style this span tag test dash sm and a test of gray dash 500. Okay, let's also talk about this. Also test of gray dash 600 and capitalize. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so if I click here, okay, so I have the age here, right? And I have the phone number and I have the address here. Great job. Okay, so now after the profile, so where do we start the profile from? Maybe here. Okay, so here. Okay, so after this one here. Okay, great. I'll go down and get one of these again and just say appointment information. Okay, so in the appointment information, we'll have a div and another div, and that div will have a span which will show the data dot. Okay, let me just say this would say date. Okay, and the paragraph will take the date itself. So I say format. Okay, so format from date fs, date fx. Okay, then I'll just put data dot appointment date. Okay, and the date format should be dd 1 2 3 4. I think I want to believe this is a good format. Okay, so December 23rd. Okay, so now let's style it. Okay, so this one will have some class of grade and grade columns of 3 and a gap of 10. Okay, so this one will not be any star, and this span will be test of sm grade, test of gray dash 500. Great. And now this will also have these classes of tests of sm and tests of gray dash 600. Okay, great. And that's how it goes. That's the format. So I'll just copy and just do copy and paste of the rest. So we said that it will be grade and grade columns of 3, right? So this is 1, right? So this is another one. Okay, so we have the grid column. This is 1 column, right? This is another, and this is also another one. Okay, so I'll just import the indicator again from here. Okay, great. I hope you understand. So if I check here, okay, so we have it like this, time and everything is there. If I click on this, okay, so the banner, it's gone, right? Great. Okay, so after that one, what we can do is after the appointment indicator, you remember this ends somewhere here. So come 2 divs down and put this, and let's check if there is a node, then we bring the node. If there is no node, there is no need to show that. Okay, now I'll just bring the last information to show. Okay, so the same thing, which is physician information. Then we're importing and showing the information about the doctor, right? So the image and the doctor's name and specialization. Now we need to also check. Okay, so lastly, what we'll do is that now we'll call the check user that we have, right? We'll check from our utils row, we'll check if the user is admin or not. And we check if you are the admin or the doctor ID is equal to the user ID. So meaning we need to get the user ID, right? Okay, so how do we get the user ID? We can come here and just say cons user ID equal to await auth from click NextJs server. Okay, great. So we get the user. So we'll check if the doctor is equal to the user, right? That's an await. Okay, I think this will work. So we'll await this and see if it's an admin or not, right? If it's an admin, then you can perform action, and this is the appointment action. So let's create the appointment action. Okay. Okay, so inside the components, so we are creating a lot of components. I'll just say appointment action.tss. Okay, and I'll just paste that code here. Okay, so that's will be a use clients, right? And here we'll get this action done soon. We are importing, from Prisma and use state and all these things. Okay, so this the interface will take the ID and the status, right? Okay, so we have loading, we have the selected, and we have reason as well as router. Okay, so this is the handle. Okay, so let's first check it. We have a div, and this div we are going to show a couple of buttons, which will be flex and item to center with a space of 3. So we have buttons that we are saying that okay, it should be outlined and the button should be disabled if the status is pending, right? So this will be for the pending. If the status is pending, there is no need to change it to pending again when it is pending. And when it's also loading, right, it should be disabled. And when the status is also equal to completed, it should be disabled, because if the appointment is completed, meaning the patient has visited the hospital and we are done, there is no need to change the status again. Okay, so this one will also be for approved or scheduled appointment, right? If you've booked appointment and it has been scheduled for a particular day, you see, so if it should be disabled when it is scheduled already, you don't have to schedule it again. And when it's also completed or loading, we disable it. Okay, and when we click on it, we'll just change the selected to whatever we clicked on it. And this is for cancelled, completed, and this is for cancelled. As well as here, we'll check that if it is cancelled, right, the selected is cancelled, then we need to give a reason why we are canceling it. So we give a reason here. Okay, and now the button, when we select, right, and we give, whatever we do, then we now can click on this to submit it. Okay, great. So we can go into it and just work on this action. However, okay, let's finish with this. So we set the loading to true here, and we'll check if the reason exists. So if the reason exists, right, we just have to craft. If there is a reason, fine. If there is no reason, we just say appointment has been, then whatever we selected, if it's approved, say approved, schedule, or whatever, yes, with the date, right? Okay, as a reason. And here we are calling the appointment action we are about to create, where we pass the patient ID, appointment ID, and whatever action was selected and the reason, right? When it goes through, then we just have to do router.refresh, and we also show the toast. Okay, great. So now let's go into the okay, so this will be appointment actions. So let's go into actions. Okay, and we'll create appointment.ts, and if you remember, use server, don't forget this. Okay, so async function, right, appointment action, and if you remember, we'll take ID, which can be a string or number. We'll also take the status, which should be equal to appointment status. Great. And the last one is the reason, which will be a string. Okay, so this, and now we can now come here with a try catch. Great. So if an error occurs, we console log the error and then return to information to the user. So just say await db imported from libsutil.appointment.update. Great. So the update where rate, where id, it should be always a number because the appointment is a number. Okay, there'll be also data, which will be the status and the reason. Okay, great. And if it goes through successfully, okay, we'll just return success of true, error of false, and a message. Yeah, a message of I'll just copy the message. Yes, that says appointment, then the status, right? Whatever the status be. Great. So we can now go back to here and make sure we import and this. Okay, great. Imported here. Now I can also import this from here. Great. So now let's go and try and see. Okay, so let's say this has been scheduled. Okay, I'm a patient, so I can't do anything about it, right? I can only see my information, right? Appointment information. I think the doctor information, it's also not fetching. Oh, okay, it's here. So let's give a background color to the doctor. So here there was a BG of emerald, that's 600 for the doctor. Okay, great. So something like this. Great job. So now we are done with this, right? This page does not exist, so we'll work on this. Okay, so I can see that there is no space between the name, as well as, okay, also for uniformity, make this capitalized. Okay, so it's in recent appointment where we have name. Okay, so I'll put space here and doctor. Okay, here. Okay, I'll make this also uppercase. Okay, so now we have space and this is also capitalized, so that's great. So now let's go and work on this too, then we can say we are done with this page. Okay, so available doctors, so I will close everything except this. So inside the component, I'll create available doctors.tss rafc. Okay, great. So we can go back here and import the available doctors. Great. Okay, so here we'll accept data. If I go to my types, data types, okay, I'll put this here, available doctors, right? So we'll have ID, name, specialization, image, and the working days. Okay, great. So here I can say that data available doctors. Okay, so I think I can put this. Okay, great. Now I'll also bring some few types. Okay, so I'll put this here. So these are the days, right? So from Sunday up to Saturday, right? So we get the day, call the function get today, right? And we also have some interface for days, which will be the day, the start time, and the closing time. Okay, so once I get the data, we can do this. So class name, bg of white, rounded of Excel, and a pattern of 4. Okay. Inside it will give another div which will have an h1, which will bear the name available doctors. Okay, so let's start this div. I could flex justify between item center and margin bottom of 6. This also text of LG and font of semi bold. Okay, so I'll put a button. However, I need to check. So if await check row, then I'll pass in admin. So if it's admin, then we'll show this button, which will have a link from NextJs that will say view or okay, and href of record slash doctors. Okay, so like this. Okay, so we can style this button. So I will leave it as a child. The variant will be outline, and I'm going to say it should be disabled if data dot length is equal to 0. And now classes, I'm going to say disabled cursor dash not allowed, and disabled text dash gray dash 200. Okay, great. So let's see. Okay, so we have available doctors, and because I am not an admin, I will not see the button. Okay, great. So below this div, we'll put one more div with classes, width of foo, space of y of 5 on MD, the space of y of 0. On MD, I would also say gap of 6, flex column, MD, flex of row, MD, flex wrap. Inside this, I'm just going to map over the data. So data.map, I'll get each doc with ID and return a card. Okay, so this card from UI card. Okay, let's give it a key. Okay, so we can put the key as the ID. And let's also give some classes. Okay, so we'll say MD flex main height, sorry, main width of 14, main height of also 14, MD main width of 16, and MD main height of 16. Now I'll bring the profile image. Okay, so I need to put the URL, which will be the doctor.image, and the name will be doc name. Okay, so class name MD. Oh, I think I missed the classes. This one is supposed to be for this. Okay, and I'll bring this for the card. Okay, great. Okay, so this goes here. Let me also give some class names to the test. So the test will be test-2 Excel and a font of semi-bold. And we need to also give a background blue of 600. I don't know if you don't have available doctors, but let me see. Okay, so here, maybe I can console log the data and see data. Open the terminal. Okay, so doctors is now, there is no doctor available. Okay, we can also double check from here, saying cons available doctors. That is also now. Okay, so maybe let's check our DB doctors and working days. Okay, so there should be, but I'm not getting to. Okay, so perhaps we can cross-check from here. Oh, okay. So make sure that you remove this now and return this available doctors. So we are selecting doctors and taking this. So, okay, so this and that cannot be assigned to the type of available doctors. Okay, so I think what I can do is like this. Or perhaps I can say as available doctors prop. Okay, great. I think I can do it like this. So I have a lot of them. Okay, let's finish with our design. Okay, so we have the doctor profile image. Okay, so below the profile image we can have a div. So let's have an h2 which will take the dog name, and below it we can have a paragraph tag which will take the dog specialization. Okay, and below it we can have another paragraph. Inside that paragraph we can have a span which will say available time. Great. Then I'll call a function called available days. Okay, and in the available days I'll pass the data as doc.working days. Okay, so let's create this function, then we'll come back to start this. Okay, so I think we can just put it here. So const this. Okay, so here we'll take data, and the data is data.days, this days, right? Great. So inside here I'm going to say const today, I'll say is today working day. Great, which should be data dot find. Okay, so I'm going to find the day. I'm going to find the day. I say day dot day. Okay, so let me put this as day object, so not to confuse you. So day object dot day equal to today. Okay, so today is up here. Okay, so it says this has type of implicit any. Oh, okay, here. Okay, this should also be an array. Okay, great, then work group. So what we can do is that now we can return is today working day, right? If can return, if that exists, then I'll just have to copy this. Let me just copy this and okay, so I'm saying that okay, so I'm saying that if this exists, right? If today is working day, then return today working day dot time, right? The start time dash closing time. If not, then return that not available. Okay, so let's see what we have. So this is what we have, right? So not available, not available, not available. Okay, so the doctors we have are not available for today. Okay, so let's start this. I'm going to say font dash semi-bold, test LG, and on MD test of Excel. Okay, so this paragraph also, I'll say test dash base, capitalize, and test gray dash 600. Okay, let's talk about this paragraph. Test of SM, flex, and items to center. And this, okay, it should be hidden, but on LG, flex. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this is what we have. I think it's pretty much similar. Okay, so maybe we can do something. Okay, so if you want it this way, I think you can leave it like that. But I think I want to fetch doctors that are available instead of fetching all of them, right? You know, in this case, you see, we had 6, but all of them are not available. But I want to show doctors who are whose working day is today, right? Okay, so how can we do that? I think I can remove this here into the utils index here, and I'll say, so I'll just import it from here. This, right? Okay, so because I want to get the doctors on duty, so okay, so I want to get the doctors whose working day is today, right? So this is what I'll do. I'll just say cons today equal to days of week. Okay, days of week is the days of week. I can import it. Okay, then I'll pass today, right, which is new date dot get day. Okay, so this will help us get the day. Okay, where is this imported from? Okay, sure. Okay, that's it. Okay, so we pass in the index. It should be this. Okay, great. So I'll just pass and I get today, right? And here, instead of fetching all, I'll just say where working days, great. I'll say sum, then day equal to today, right? So I only want to fetch doctors whose working day is today. I want to fetch 6 of them. Okay, so now if we go here, possibly let's reload and see. Okay, so we didn't get anything. If I check my Prisma and I check on the working days, so the working days, okay, the days starts with capitals. Okay, so I think then the issue here was also pretty same, because in the database they are capitals and here. So what I'll do here is that since here this ones are small letters, I'll just put this also to lowercase, right? Great. And in this function, perhaps what I can do is that I can avoid case sensitive by saying equals today, and I'm going to say mode, right, is to insensitive. Okay, to avoid case sensitivity. Okay, so here now, okay, so let me refresh and see. Okay, I think we're still getting so what I can do is that perhaps let me try to log the available doctors first. Okay, so let me make it a little bit bigger. Oh, okay, so I think it's my mistake. I'm only getting the days. I'm not including the working days. Okay, so that is a mistake on my side. Okay, so maybe one thing that we can do here is that we also need to include working days to true. Great, and let's see. Okay, so now we have the object, yes, of the working days, and I think I can now close this. Okay, great. So let's check back and see. Okay, great. So now we have available doctors. So it's time 8 to 5, right? They are just here like that. Great. So I have 6 of them. Okay, whatever number you want to put, you can put that. So maybe I can just put 4. I'm going to reduce it to 4. Okay, great. So that is the available doctors. So now let us go to patient rating. Yeah, so in components, create patient rating container. Okay, great. .tss. Okay, RFC. So patient rating container. Okay, great. So I can come here and import it. Great. So in here we will fetch. Okay, so now I'm going to show you that you can also fetch the data from the component directly like this, right? Okay, so here I'm going to say cons user ID equal to await auth. Okay, from click NextJs, we get the user ID. And now I'm going to fetch the data by saying data equal to await DB, right? So import it from your libs.db dot ratings. Okay, ratings dot find many. Okay, many. I want to take 10 at a time. So the first 10. And I'm going to put where. Okay, so where patient ID patient _ ID equal to user ID. Okay, I also want to include patient because there's also the patient information. So I'll include the patient information, then select. Okay, which of the information do I need? I need a last name. True. I also need the first name. True. Okay, so I need last name and first name. Okay, so here, let me put this to make sure this exists. Okay, great. Now, because I want to get the latest one, I need to also put order by rate. Then I put created at date to descending. Okay, great. Great. So we can also fetch the information from here like that. So if I'm going to say if data does not exist, let's return now for now. Okay, but if data exists, then we will return the information here. Okay, so I don't think we have any information. So I'm going to create one using my ID. So, okay, let me click here and go to ratings, great. And click on add record. Here, ID will be generated, staff ID, patient ID. Okay, so the rating I'll give, it's a number, I'll give 5. Comment is good services. Great, so let me select the doctor. Okay, I'm going to select this doctor and okay, let me also select patient, which is myself. Okay, great, this is mine, and all these things are dates, so I will just say save. Okay, so I've been able to add one record. So yeah, so now, okay, so I have patient container here, so we can continue. Okay, so if we have the information, then we will bring a reusable container that we can use as rating list, right? So that we can call it anywhere and pass the data to it. Okay, so inside this component, I'll call the rating list.tss arrayfc rating list. Okay, and I can import it here. Okay, great. Okay, so here this rating list will have props, so I'll just bring this props and just say data props. Great. So the data, okay, let me say data. Okay, so each data will have this prop and will be an array. Great. So inside here, oh, I think I have an issue with my tabs, though. And I'll just put these types here. Okay, so class name, BG white, and rounded, that's LG. Okay, a div. Okay, so you know this drill, a div and a title, so I'll bring that one. Okay, so yeah, this div and that title, and now I have another one div. Inside this will map over the data, so I'm just going to say space y dash 2 and p of also 2 for pattern. Okay, so let's map over the data. So data dot map, I'll get each rate and index. Okay, let me return it instantly like this, where I'll use a div. Okay, something like this. Great. And I need to give a key. So the key will be the rate dot id rate. Inside this we'll have a div. Let me start this div. I'm going to say even bg dash gray dash 50 p3 and rounded. Okay, this also we just say flex and justify to between. I'll put one more div inside this, then a paragraph, which will take the name of the person. Okay, so the name will be rate dot patient dot first name, right? Then I'll just say, okay, same for last name. Okay, let's see if we have that one element. Okay, so we have one here. Great, let's start this. So flex item center and a gap of 4. Okay, so this one will also be text of base and font of medium. Okay, after this I can put another one, another span tag, which will be for date. So I'll say new date, then I'll pass rate dot created at. Great. Then I can say dot to local date string. Okay, let's see. So have the name here and the date also here. Okay, great. Let me give some styling to the date. So the date will be test of SM and a test of gray dash 500. Okay, so after this, just come one div below the span, and let's put a div which will have some classes of. Okay, so flex core item center, a div with classes, flex item center test dash yellow dash 600. Inside this, I am going to create an array using the ratings that the user gave, right? So if we have 1 or 5 or whatever we have, we use it and say that the length of the array should be equal to the rate dot ratings rate, like this and this, that. So we don't need the data, we don't need it. So I will just say index. We don't need the data for anything, we just want to loop over it a couple of times. Okay, then let's return an icon which is md outline star. Let me search do seed icons. Okay, so let me search for star. So this is the icon that I'm using. If you also using red icons, that's fine. Okay, so maybe this, I can copy the GSX and just put it here. Okay, this, right? Okay. Okay, so I need to provide a key, which will be the index. And let me also put some classes. So I'm going to say test-lg. Okay. Okay, so we have it this way, right? Okay. If you don't want it this way and you just want to show the number, you can also show the number. Perhaps like if I comment. Okay, maybe if you also don't want it that way, you can perhaps do it like you have to maybe put a div like this and just bring the star, right? Take up the index like this, and maybe a span tag for the rate dot ratings. Yeah, maybe something like this. So flex an item to center, right? Okay, I guess we even have this already. So maybe if you also want it like this, right, you can just do that. Okay. And if you also want the other one, you can use this, but I will want to use this one. And I will, after that, after this div, right, below it, I'll put the ratings, right? Great. So like this. This is how I want it. Okay, so it'll be like this, then the ratings will be under it. Okay, that's great. Okay, so whichever one you want to use, you can use it. I'm just saying to fixed of one. Okay, and I'll just come here to divs. I'll say if there is no data.length equal to 0, right? I'll just want to show that there is no data. Okay, so I'll put a message of a span tag that says no ratings, or okay, let me say no reviews. Okay, and let's style it as this px of 2 and test gray dash 600. Okay, so this it's our dashboard. Okay, nicely done. Okay, great. So we've come to the end of this section, right? Let's see the responsiveness. Okay, great. So in our next episode, we'll look at the creating appointments and the other dashboards. Okay, don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, you can also support CodeWave if you find this video helpful. Thank you.